By watching this video, it means you already understand at least the basics of PHP and you are ready to dive into the world of Laravel. Let's get started by installing the Laravel installer, which is a composer package that makes creating new Laravel projects incredibly easy. Open a new terminal, and if you take a look at my path, this is where I create the projects. So in this new terminal tab, we will run composer global require Laravel installer. This command installs the Laravel installer globally on your system, making the Laravel command available from anywhere in your terminal. To verify the installation was successful, simply run Laravel. If you see the Laravel installer's help output, you're all set. Now let's create our project. Run Laravel new and the name of the project. In our case, it is going to be an expense tracker. This tells Laravel to create a new project called Expense Tracker. The installer will first ask you to select a starter kit. Since our goal is to learn Laravel from the ground up before moving to frameworks like React, Vue, or Livewire, select None to start fresh. Now the next step is to select a testing framework. Again, we can go with Pest, which is like the newest thing you have in Laravel, or you can go old-fashioned and select PHP unit. For now, we will select Pest because as a new Laravel developer, you might like Pest more, and it is one of the standards now in the Laravel industry, so select Pest for that. If you look at the terminal output, the Laravel installer performs several important steps automatically. Let's go up here. So what do we have here? The installer downloads the latest Laravel framework files and sets up your project structure. When you create a Laravel project, Composer downloads all required packages and their dependencies. In this case, we have a total of 112 packages that were installed. Now, when you see locking, so what does locking mean? Locking means Composer records the exact version of each package, and this is the version, for example, for the brick math package, 0.14.0. This ensures everyone on your team uses identical package versions, preventing compatibility issues where code works on one developer's machine but breaks on another's. Composer then downloads and installs. So if we scroll down here, you can see that it now starts downloading and installing those packages for us that were previously locked. And then at the end, the installer creates a .env file by copying the .env.example template. This file contains the new one, the .env, contains your application's environment specific configurations. And finally, it runs PHP artisan key generate, which creates a unique encryption key for your application. Now, if you're curious about how all this works under the hood, you can go and take a look at the Laravel installer package, which you have here. And if you want to take a look at the steps that the installer takes when you run Laravel new and then the name of the project, you have everything in this file here inside the new command. And you will see that a lot of the things that get output that you see as an output here on your screen, for example, the info application key set successfully is not part of the Laravel installer. It's actually coming from your Laravel project when you run the PHP artisan key generate command. Okay, so let's continue. The installer now is asking us about the database. The easiest option to start with is SQLite, which is pre-selected, because it requires no additional installations compared to MySQL or to MariaDB, Postgres, and so on. So for now, select SQLite, and we go with that. You can always switch to a different database later as your project grows. Once you select the database, the installer automatically is installing and downloading all our packages. So some new ones here as well. You can see that it has installed the past PHP, which we instructed it to do. So this is something new we have here. So now we have like 15 new installations compared to the 112 we had previously. And that is because we're now installing the pest PHP package for testing. And if I go to the top here, we have some extra info on the screen. So once we select the database, the installer automatically prepares the database by creating the migrations table and then runs the migrations to set up the initial database structure, which we see here. So these are the migrations. So again, these actions are not coming from the Laravel installer directly. They are executed by your Laravel application when the installer runs PHP Artisan Migrate for you. The logs you see are output from that command. This demonstrates how the Laravel installer is essentially a convenient wrapper that automates the setup process, especially helpful when you're creating your new first Laravel project. You might not have to actually use this later on when you have some different structures. Most probably you will not use this, especially when we start working with domain-driven design. You will see that I'm not going to use this exact package because it is not actually needed. This is only for newcomers to have like an easier onboarding with Laravel. Okay, so let's go at the bottom here and see what we have next. Now, the next question asks if you want to run npm install and npm run build. For now, choose yes, even though we won't be working with front-end assets immediately. We will explore how and why we need npm later in the series. The installer will download and compile your front-end dependencies, but don't worry about the step for now, just let it complete. Once the installation completes, it's time to open the application in your code editor. I personally prefer PHP Storm. I'm old-fashioned in terms of that. I'm not using Visual Studio Code yet. Maybe I will also migrate to that. So you can use any editor you're comfortable with. It doesn't really matter. Laravel provides a convenient composer script to start your development environment. All you have to do is to open a terminal and run composer run dev. What does this command do is that the dev script starts 3 services immediately at the same time. Laravel's local environment server, PHP built-in server, the queue worker for handling background jobs, and Vite's development server for front-end asset compilation with hot model replacement. So, and we can verify all of that here. You can see that here we have the processing jobs from the default queue, we have some application logging, and we have the Vite server, and here is the Laravel server, which we want to open. So open this one. And let me make sure I use the correct screen. So we have it here. Let me just copy that and paste it there. Your application is now running in localhost 8000. You should see the Laravel welcome page. Congratulations, you have your first Laravel project running. So let's verify that everything works. And what I'm going to do is to go to resources, views, welcome.blade.php, and after the body, I will just say hello from Laravel. I will go back to the browser, and without having to reload the screen, you can see the output right here, hello from Laravel. And this is because of the hot module reloading. So if you run composer, run dev, you will get that, which is pretty nice to have. Or you can just run the commands on different tabs, and I will show you later on in the course how to do that. But yeah, composer run dev makes things work so much better. So this is the introduction and how to install Laravel. If you enjoyed this video and want more, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm also working on a Laravel boilerplate built with domain-driven design, which I already use for my SaaS, gaplos.com. It comes packed with tons of features and of course full DDD support. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.